Welcome back to the Mafuba Jar. We've been sealed away for another amazing deck profile. And today, guys, we're going to be going over the other Surge leader that we currently have, and that's going to be the Piccolo Surge leader. Now, this one has a lot of potential, and there's quite a few ways you could build a deck around this. You can go control ramp, you could go hand control, you can go revival based, kind of like with the green Goku leader. Like, there are several things you can do with this leader, but this is about the focus I chose for it today. Bit of a blue-green toolbox, which is another thing you can do, but that said, this is by far from your only option that you can do with this leader. So the leader itself, let's go over him. He's pretty amazing, just like the Surge Goku. So his auto is at the beginning of your turn, you look at the top card of your deck, place it on either the top or the bottom of your deck, then draw one card. So if you look at the top card of your deck, it's like, oh wow, that's amazing. You go right ahead and draw it. But if you're like, oh no, that's a terrible top deck, well, you get to put it in the bottom and hope you draw something better. So really, really awesome right there. Gives you a bit more control of what you draw. And he does have the Awakened Surge just like Goku. You place a blue card and a green card from your hand underneath him. You may draw 3 cards and restand one of your energy, so he's the same as Goku in that aspect, and flip him over to the Gohan and Piccolo Surge of Consciousness. Now, this is where things get really cheeky. So, same thing with the Goku, no attack, no auto draw or anything like that. His activate main slash battle revolves around the cards that you put underneath him, so you can essentially only activate it twice. But they're arguably more amazing than the Goku. So the first one is that your opponent chooses 2 cards from their hand and sends them to their warp, adding on to the hand control option that you're able to pick. Or, which is by far one of my favorite ones, you choose a blue-green multicolor card in your drop area, negate its energy exhaust, and place it in your energy. So this severely adds to the ramping potential that this card has, and just really helps out the ramp of your deck quite a bit. So all in all, very powerful card. Not to mention he is in the Namekian, so he does have access to some of the Namekian cards out there if you want to go that route as well. So very, very powerful. And with that, we're going to go ahead into the main aspect of the deck here. As you guys can see, there are some similarities to the Android 21 deck. To me, that's just because they're that good of cards. First off, here we have our Android 16 Energy Amplification. Being able to take the top card of our deck into our energy is just going to help us out, because since it is a toolbox leaning a little bit more towards the ramp, we want to be able to just get out as much energy as possible. And with Objection Band, you do kind of have to max out on this one at least. And of course, we are running our Android 17 Protector of Wildlife. Are ignoring energy exhaust there, of course, but if he ends up in the drop area somehow, you just get him right back with the Piccolo, so really cool. We are going to be running Predation. I just think it's an amazing card overall. Being able just to be able to draw 2 cards alone to me is really good, but the fact that you could also KO a 1-drop is pretty awesome as well, because there's a lot of annoying 1-drops out there. We are going to be running the Beautiful Scientist Android 21, adding more to our ramp, as well as giving us a blocker on the field. Not to mention also being able to pop a battle card on the field. Really nice for that control. And speaking about really nice, arguably one of the best blue-green cards we have right now is the Android 21 Bad Omen. Being able to play not only from your energy area, but also to crit your opponent a life and make them lose a battle card as well. So very, very powerful. And the last thing we have, at least for the 21 parts, we do have 2 copies of Android 21 Violent Predator. With how much we ramp, this isn't going to be a problem to bring out. Not to mention nuking your opponent's whole field that is not a multi. Stupidly good. Not to mention just triple attack. It's a really good way to end games. But I am going to be going over some other options to the Android 21 stuff if you don't want to run it. But I at the very least have to recommend the Android 16 and the Bad Omen. If you don't want to run the Beautiful Scientist, Violent Predator, or even Predation, you don't have to. Those are just my personal options. But these 2 I highly recommend you do. They're just that good. And speaking about our other stuff here, we are going to be running some of the new stuff we have is the Heavy Kick Crillon. If your leader card's blue and there's a multicolor card in your energy, when you combo with it, it gains 5,000 to its combo for the duration of the turn. So he's essentially a mini super combo Not being able to draw, but just being able to get that 10k for free, really, really awesome when you're trying to go for game, or if you're trying to defend yourself. He's really good for that. And one of the other new cards we have here is Hidden Potential. Now this card is really good. It's a counterplay. If your leader card is green, the battle card being played if it has an energy cost of 4 or less, it's placed in the drop area instead of being played. Then you get to restand one of your blue or green energy. So it's almost like, what's the card I'm thinking of? Preemptive Strike. It's almost like a Preemptive Strike for 1 energy, which is so amazing. So it's really, really good. Like, it's honestly amazing. This was like one of the best cards that I saw from that whole mini Surge set, and you can see why it's so amazing. And now we're gonna be going over some of the more up in price stuff, but I'll go over budget options. First one's gonna be our super combo, Defending Father Paragus. When you combo with it, if your later card's green, you draw 2 cards, then you get to send a card from your, then you have to send a card from your hand to the warp. He's a little bit of an expensive super combo and not the easiest to find because he was specific to the Broly structure deck, but just about any blue or green super combo will do. There does exist a Namekian super combo out there that lets you activate it when you're at 5 life. So that is an option for you guys as well if you don't want to have to go through this searching and spending for this. Another big one here is Vegeta the Cruel. He is starting to drop a little bit in price, but this right here is still at least, you're still looking at minimum $25 right here. So what he does is that he's a 3 cost, that's a 2 drop if you have a multicolor. He's a counterplay that if you play him during your opponent's turn, you get to KO one of their battle cards with an energy cost 4 or less, then your opponent has to send a card from hand to warp. It adds to the hand control a bit more, but if this is also something you're not wanting to run, you could honestly replace this with a whole bunch of things. Like for counter play stuff, you've got good options here with the Hidden Potential and Absolute Release Ball, which I'll go over in a second. But as I said, there's many options. You could go ahead and go with the Gohan counterplay. Card's not even $1, and it essentially bounces it back to the hand if it's a 4-drop or less. But the only issue is why that particular one's not played is because it doesn't prevent it from being played. So if it's an auto that gets played, it still does get the effect, but it is still a pretty good card because it bounces it back to hand. And it has the same thing to where it only costs 2 energy if you have a multi, and he actually restands an energy too. So if you end up tapping yourself out for the Gohan, you still have an energy to use to defend yourself during a turn. So he's not the worst option. I personally feel he's a little bit overlooked, but that is just one option if you do not want to go through getting Vegeta the Cruel. But if you are able to, I highly recommend. He is an amazing card. And speaking of amazing cards, we have the Gohan and Piccolo Pupil and Master. This one's also a little bit up there, but it's been fluctuating back and forth. This one though, same thing with Vegeta, I will say is worth the price. Honestly, I do feel the way about Defending Father Paragus as well, but I understand if they're not in your budget. So what this does is it has Barrier and Revive, so really cool right there. And the auto is when this card attacks, your opponent chooses 1 card in hand and places it in the drop area. So what's really cool about that is that cards like this in the past usually state that if it attacks your opponent's leader that they do that. This doesn't matter. If you end up attacking a battle card, they still have to pitch. So you're not giving your opponent any cards back with this. And you can keep recurring him every single time he gets KO'd. So he's a very menacing threat to deal with. And the last card I'll be going over here that is kind of a money one. Well, not kind of, it is very much a money one. It's going to be the SS4 Vegeta Pika Permanent Power Secret Rare. So he has an arrival of 3 bleed. Did I seriously just say 3 bleed? Oh my goodness. Please guys, I will be insulted if you don't make a meme of that in the comment section. So 3 blue, 2 green. And when that arrival happens, his auto depends on when you play it. If you play it during your turn, he gains double strike, critical, and triple attack. And he's at 40k, so you know it's going to end games. And if you do it during your opponent's turn, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, place it in the drop area, and you get to add up to 2 cards from the top of your deck to your energy. So he helps out with the ramping a bit more if you end up having to play this on your opponent's turn. But if this is a bit out of your price range, just about any blue secret rare will work. The Vegeta secret rare, the Goku and Oob secret rare will work fine. You could even, this is gonna be like a little bit counterproductive because it's a lot more money. But if you happen to have it, you could also do the Tournament of Power Victory Strike card in here as well. Because it's 8 energy, which with how much this deck ramps, that's not really the hardest thing to get to. And it's a Victory Strike that can't be negated. So if by some chance you have it and not this, you can go ahead and put that in there. But honestly, you don't even need a secret rare. Like, if you don't want to run this or the Violent Predators, another really cheeky option you could do is go ahead and run a 10-drop Zamasus. And at that point, you're pretty much just giving your opponent a countdown. He's indestructible. When he attacks, he gets rid of a life, energy, battle card in the field, and a card in the hand every single time he attacks. So you're essentially putting your opponent on a, okay, you're on a countdown now. If you don't kill me within these amount of turns, you're dead. Because even though, yes, we do have more and more ways to deal with indestructible, it's still pretty difficult to deal with an indestructible card. So that's another option you can go, and those things are like dirt cheap. They're no longer the price that they were. Because they did receive a bit of hype price when the special anniversary came out. They were like 15 a piece, but they're nowhere near that last time I checked. So that's just options you can do out there. If you do want to do Android 21 Violent Predator, but not this, you can just go ahead and add a third one, make a fourth Bad Omen. Like, there's so many things you can do to replace this card right here if that's a little bit out of your price range. So for the final two, so I'm going to be going over here. Of course, we have our Awakened Talent Pan, which, even though this has nothing to do with Awakening, as far as your life goes, the Activate Main / Battle activates at 3 or less life. So you do still want to be taking your own life to make sure you get to that point. It's not like the Goku. It's a little less generous than that. But I can totally understand why. That's so amazing. And as I said before, we are running the Absolute Release Ball. This only activates when you're at 4 or less life, so you never see any more than 2 or 1 or even 1 of these being played. This is completely optional. If you guys don't want to run this, you don't have to. There's other things you can put in there as well. I just personally like this card. Is that if your opponent plays an energy card with a battle card with an energy cost of 3 or less, it's returned to the hand instead of being played. Then you can choose up to 1 of your blue energy and switch it to active mode. So it's essentially a free bounce back. And if you have a multicolor card in your energy, when you're at 4 or less life, you can go ahead and take a life instead of paying that. So you're gonna go ahead and just get you just play it, have it bounce back to their hand, and you get a free energy restand on top of that. So it does have its uses. It really does. And obviously, Dimension Magic, Senzu Bean. If you're playing blue, you gotta play these. There are other options for negates, like you do have access to Shocking Death Ball. Of course, we have stuff like Whis, because I know some people still play Whis Coercion. We do have some green negates out there that you could play, but Dimension Magic is really just the way to go. Alright guys, so this has been my Piccolo Gohan deck profile. As I said, I can't stress enough, this is by far not the only way you can build this deck. I guess honestly almost mind-blowing how many different ways you could revolve this deck. Like there's just so many. This deck has so much potential. So with that guys, if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to smash the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, like and comment down below. And with that guys, I hope you all have a fantastic day. I'll see you all next time, and you've all been released.